What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. We're going to try and get this done quickly because it is starting to drizzle, and what I'm going to get done, I need to get done tonight because tomorrow morning I am taking the Cefiro to JB Fabrication to get a few things in the engine bay welded up. In the last video that you guys saw, we prepped the whole engine bay for paint, sanded it down with some 80 grit sandpaper, went right back to the pretty much bare metal in most places, fixed a bit of rust that was down here or wire weld it to get it as good as we possibly could, and then finally went over the engine bay with some Scotch-Brite before we laid down some primer, and this thing turned out real good. What I'm taking it to JB Fab to get welded up are these holes here. So remember, we took the heater box and the aircon unit out, which leaves these holes exposed. So we're going to take those and get those welded up. Also going to get this welded up here where the speedo cable goes. It was pretty last minute. I had completely forgot about those holes that were going to be there. I had to get this done tomorrow before we go and paint it because I made the mistake on this. You can see that I forgot about the holes and we had to do them after we painted it, and to stop it from rusting I had to hit it with some black paint. I don't want to repeat of this. Want to get it done before we get it painted so it all looks nice in one color. It doesn't matter that we did the primer first. We can just obviously grind that back when he goes to weld it, and then once it's done we'll just primer over it and then we can lay the paint down. So what I need to do today is I need to put the front struts back up. I've already put this one back up, but need to do this one as well. And I also need to raise the front because the front of these jutties were ridiculously low, and I also want the front end up a little bit to just make it easier because I need to A-frame this to Robbie's tomorrow. The rear shouldn't be too bad, doesn't seem too low. But I also need to do a couple of other things, like I need to put the steering column back in because I took that out yesterday when I went to primer it. Just again, the less I could have in this engine bay, the easier it was to work, and yeah, it was good to take it out. So just quickly before I put the wheels on and drop this thing on the ground, I just got to quickly change the caster arms. Did some measurements and I've realized that I'm not going to be able to pull that rose joint farther enough back to be able to go through the hole. So I've had to take these caster arms that were originally from this car, which will be the correct length. Anything's a hammer. So the rear end's on the ground for the first time with the 5 stud and the big brakes. I forgot to say that the other day that I put the rear tail lights and this new boot that I got onto the Cefiro because it was a similar situation to how it's about to rain. It was going to be raining the other day. The other one had a big hole in it and I wanted to store some parts in here, so I decided to throw this hood on, this boot, sorry, and the tail lights as well, just to seal the boot up. But it looks a lot better, even though it's super dirty. It's actually starting to look like a Cefiro again. So this is the first time this car's been back on the ground in about a week since we put all the new subframes, 5 stud suspension, everything, angle kit, all that stuff in. Starting to come together pretty cool now. So yeah, like I said, gonna take it tomorrow to JB Fab to get these holes welded up. I'm going to include that in this video, so I'll leave it off here for tonight, and catch you guys in the morning. So next morning, Cefiro's on the A-frame on the back of my old man's Commodore. About to head to JB Fab now. We'll get this fab done, and then yeah, should be ready for paint. So made it down to JB Fab. Got the car in here. So Robbie's actually out, and one of his workers, Andy, is going to be doing the fab work for us. So he's just taking some measurements of the holes, and he's about to cut out the bits of metal that we're going to weld into there. 7. It. Once it's in there, it'll be pretty nice. Something like that. That'd be a lifesaver. Yeah, definitely. Imagine having to do that without one of those. I'd fall through the firewall space every time like this before. Put your hand on the other side on a welder if you want. Ouch. Yeah. Can you get to it? So Andy is just about to make the bits to go over the throttle cable, not throttle cable, speedo cable. So usually the speedo cable will come from the gearbox and go into there, but obviously because I'm not running that, we're going to block that up. But because it's not a circle, he's got to make it, it's going to be a bit more in depth. But originally over here, what we were going to do is we were just going to give it 4 tacks, but I just had the idea that it'd actually be cool to grind the tacks that were there down a little bit and then bog over this tonight, smooth it out, so when we go to paint it, you can barely even notice that these have been filled up at all. And he decided to do some more tacks just to give it some more strength, since I'll be filing the top of the welds down a little bit. I just think doing that's going to look a little bit better. Either way, it's going to look so much better than the 14. Because at least we're doing it before I actually paint it, not afterwards. So Andy's just about to make the template for covering up the speedo cable hole. Just holding a piece of paper, using his finger. Bit of dirt. It's such a good way to do it. Can't beat it up. And then it's just taking it over and use the screwdriver to sort of etch it into there. And he's going to cut it. There. So if I take a mil off there, zero there. Tighten. Perfect. All the holes in the firewall all filled up. Now we're just going to cut a hole in the firewall, because I want to actually run my loom through this hole instead of it running over the firewall and then going into the cabin way over there where they usually do on Cefiros. A couple of reasons behind that is I think it's just going to look cleaner for one, obviously not having wires or the loom running over here, but secondly the downpipes here, so if we don't have the loom there, it's going to be completely away from the exhaust and it's far less likely to melt on me, because I have had that happen before. And this thing is going to see some abuse of limiter during some standstill burnout, so it's going to get hot in that area. So yeah, it's going to look good going through there, and then it can run over to the side where the ECU is on the other side of the firewall. burr on that. Yeah, it's got that fucking try and make it so you don't cut your fingers off. Go and do anything. And that will pretty much wrap it up for this video, guys. Cheers for watching. Big shout out to Andy for the killer fab work on the firewall, filling up all the holes and drilling the new hole for the loom to be run through for me. We finished up a few hours ago. Immediately afterwards, I took the car straight to Mitchell's work, which I'm going to be heading there tomorrow morning bright and early, where we are going to sand down the welds on it, going to bog over the holes, let that dry, sand it out. We're going to go over the whole engine bay with Scotch-Brite, scuff it all up, and then we're going to lay down some paint. So that will be in the next video that you guys will see, which will be tomorrow as you are watching it. So tomorrow night for you, the paint of the engine bay is going down. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.